All right, so I know I don't really have an iPhone to use as eye candy for this video to go with the AirPods Pro here, but nonetheless, this is more just a sound comparison, more just things like that matter more than just oh, what does it pair with? What does it pair better with? Um, I've used these with both an iPhone and Android phone plenty of times. I do feel like the AirPods Pro, the entire, oh, it just pairs better with an iPhone bullshit doesn't really fly with me, mainly due to the fact that the only things you really get are like, and one and these are access to updates, sure, which is an Apple thing. I don't understand why they do that. You get the what is their thing called? The spatial audio. You get their spatial audio stuff, and you get the ability to turn off things like, say, active noise cancellation, where when you don't have them paired to an iPhone, you could just turn noise cancellation on or turn it into transparency mode. But nonetheless, I feel when it comes to overall sound, there's really no difference. They don't have any sort of audio upscaling algorithm that they do in the background. When you do use these on the Android phone, you do still get things like their dynamic EQ stuff, which works pretty well, but I'll get into that in a minute. So AirPods Pro versus Galaxy Buds Pro. I'm gonna try to make this a little bit more short and sweet. I connected both of these to my S21 Ultra just so I could have a better sound comparison. If I did pair the AirPods Pro to my V60, who knows, they might sound a little bit different comparatively. So I just decided to have one phone just to use as reference here. So I use stuff like YouTube Music, and I also use my FLAC files, which I just decided to load up now. The songs I decided to use were The Weekend, Party Monster, and Reminder from the album Starboy. After Hours from the album After Hours. I decided to use Parking Lot Pimpin' by Jay-Z on the Rock La Familia album, I believe it's called. You're gonna either have to find that on, I think, Tidal or any other music service. You can't find that album on YouTube Music or anything like that, which does suck. I used the Chronic album as well. I used F with Dre Day and Let Me Ride. Those two tracks. And I also used, what else did I use? Let me check here real quick. I also used What's the Difference by Dr. Dre as well, from the 2001 album, just to see exactly how both of these sounds in terms of stereo separation and things like that. But first, I want to talk about the feature set and all that stuff. So let's get into this. Both of these have active noise cancellation and ambient mode. On Apple, it's called transparency mode. Both of these have their own 3D audio kind of thing. It's called spatial audio on here, where I think it's called 360. I don't remember what it's called, but it's some Dolby stuff on the Samsung. You get it by connecting it to a Samsung phone that has One UI 3.1 or later. So if you have a Galaxy S21 or an S20 that's on One UI 3.1, you should be fine. You go through the Galaxy Wear app and you can update your buds that way. You have a number amount of EQ settings on them as well, and I do feel like it does suck. You don't get any sort of custom EQ on either of these, but when you do pair these to a Samsung phone, you do get audio upscaling. Unlike, say, on the AirPods Pro, where you don't get any sort of audio upscaling when you connect them to an iPhone. It's just you get a more enriched feature set. Things that don't work as well on Android as well. Sometimes these will pause when you remove one earbud and put it back. Sometimes it'll work, but most of the time it just doesn't work. Obviously, you won't be able to get any sort of battery indicator on the AirPods Pro unless you download a third-party app, which there are plenty of them on the store. I forget which. I think I use AndroPods or something like that, and it has worked just fine. With every single time I've used either AirPods, AirPods Pro, or even Beats. Beats will work as well with that, which was kind of cool to see. But yeah, either way, you can get battery indicators on Android. It's just third party, and that's pretty much it there. Um, Let me talk about the fit and finish of both a little bit too. I do feel both have a different, obviously, they have a different style in terms of how they go into your ear. Both have ventilation systems just so they can be able to, one, make sure that you get the best amount of active noise cancellation sound / ambient mode possible. One is in right here on the Galaxy Buds Pro, and one is out here as well. Whereas on here, oh, that's great. It's pretty much the same. You have one on the outside, one on the inside, and there's your smart sensor for autoplay pause, which only works, which some will fully work on an iPhone and only sometimes work on an Android phone. Whereas on here, I do feel the autoplay pause doesn't work that well. It's not nearly as good as, say, earbuds like the LG Tone Free FN7s. Those do a way better job at autoplay pause, whereas these, some, like, you got to hold them away from your ear for, like, say 2 seconds and then it'll pause, but then when you put it back in your ear it just won't resume. So that's just something that doesn't happen. I want to talk about ANC here. I feel both of these, I just tested these right now, getting off the bus. I feel both of these do a really good job with ANC. I do feel you hear a little bit more white noise on the AirPods. I do, a little bit. I tested these in my apartment. I put on the dryer because I did have to dry some stuff, and then I put them both on in the bathroom. And I do feel like the ANC on the AirPods are a little bit more sensitive. They do tend to produce a little bit more white noise. You can indeed hear that. It's not terrible. It's not a deal breaker. It's just something I want to bring up. Whereas on the Galaxy Buds Pro, you do basically have to put them in your ear like this if you want the best possible ANC. And I will say after that, I do feel these are pretty much pretty damn good competitors with the AirPods Pro in terms of ANC. But in terms of ambient mode, the AirPods Pro stomp them. They just do. The ambient mode or transparency mode on the AirPods Pro just sound cleaner, sound more natural. When you switch between the two, it just sounds more flowy. It just sounds natural. And there's nothing really wrong with that at all. In terms of how I feel about that. Stem versus touchpad design in terms of controls. It's it's a click design on here. You click once, play, click once, pause, double click, fast forward, triple click, rewind. And press and hold to go into your ambient mode or your transparency mode or ANC. Whereas on here, I have the touch controls just disabled, but single tap, double tap, it's pretty much the same. I don't think you can control everything on here. I don't use them, so I don't know. So you just go into the Galaxy Wear app, and then you could just adjust them accordingly to how you feel. You could turn off the voice assistant if you want, which is what I do, and it works just fine. In terms of the mics, I do feel like, from what I've heard in other reviews, I don't really call at all. So in terms of what I've heard between these two, the Galaxy Buds Pro definitely do a better job with their mics. You can watch videos like DankPod's video on the Galaxy Buds Pro, or GameSki. He also did a very good video where he showed how well these mics do. But in terms of the mics on here, these are no slouch. They definitely do a very good job, especially if you're in the Apple ecosystem. They'll just do better for, I guess, what you want. But you'll get clear you'll get clear sound out of both of them, no problem. But I guess now I just want to talk about the sound here. And for this is where I feel people just underline how important sound quality is, especially when it comes to music. For podcasts, though, I will say I think both are pretty much equal in terms of clarity, in terms of loudness. Both these get better battery life for sure, especially with ANC off. Whereas on here, you probably get like an extra hour or two. These get like 7 hours, 6.5, 7 hours, whereas these maybe get like 5.5, 6, and that's really ultimately both are fine, but both are different. Obviously, ANC is going to take battery, and that's something you should expect. But if you turn ANC off, you get more battery, and that's just pretty much all I got to say about that. Samsung is boasting the fact that these are tuned by AKG, which you literally see it on the case. If I can, sound by AKG. And a 2-speaker system, which is, I don't necessarily want to say, oh, it's just a tweeter and a subwoofer kind of deal, but that's the more simple way of putting it. Now, a lot of lower end IEMs, like say the $20 to $30, tend to boast like 2, 3, 4 quad octa driver headphones and all this kind of crap, right? And the problem is, yes, you could boast about stuff like a 2-speaker system, and I know drivers aren't necessarily the same as speakers, but I just want to bring this up just for comparison. If these were tuned terribly, that wouldn't matter, right? It would not be something that I would say I'd worry about. I do feel like I would feel like, oh, a 2-speaker system is just a gimmick, but, and this is a big old but. The 2-speaker system on this, man. Ooh, the 2-speaker system on this. Some of the best sound I've heard. And not just out of true wireless earbuds. Some of the best sound I've heard, period. Now, I've had these beauties here, the short tapes, for a while. I've had Sennheiser HD 650s. I have 10P1s. I'm well versed in corded audio, and when I say this is some of the best sound you could get out of a true wireless earbud, let alone some of the best sound you could get out of headphones, I do mean it. The audio separation is immaculate. I do feel like the 2-speaker system definitely helps with that. Whereas with these, I do feel the problem comes, and this is what I'm going to say right now. The AirPods Pro aren't bad, but when I started A/Bing them, it felt like on the AirPods Pro that every sound was trying to be at the forefront. Like say it was a beauty pageant or something, and every sound was trying to be center stage, and they were fighting each other to get to center stage. That's what these felt like. That's what it felt like comparing these two, And whereas these, it felt like there was a more clear differentiation between what is on which level. And it's just very nice. The bass on these as well. I grew up listening to music in my dad's car or truck or whatever type of car he decided to have at that point in time. Very expensive speakers, very expensive sound system. So I know what a very expensive sound system sounds like. These sound like a very expensive sound system in your ear. They just do. The clarity of the vocals is something that's really nice. I don't really feel like the vocals take a backseat to the bass or any of the other sounds that come within the that come within the God, I don't know why I'm stumbling on this. Come within the song, right? Say when it comes to something like After Hours by The Weeknd, um, you hear that you you hear that bass drop, and then you hear the cymbal go off in the left ear. One is not overtaking the other. um, Whereas on these, I feel like they're trying so hard to have everything sound equal on an equal playing field that it kind of goes against them. Again, not that they're bad. It's just compared to these, it's just not nearly as it's just not it's not nearly as resolved. I feel. Um, I feel more headphones should do what these do. I really do. Like LG has their thing. They're tuned by Meridian, and the bass on those are really clean, very nice, very bumpy on the FN7s, and the sound is just very nice. I feel those are more close to what these do in terms of sound, but even then, I do feel like these are just probably my favorite true wireless earbuds I have right now. The AirPods Pro again aren't bad in terms of sound quality. You'll get a decent amount of bass. You get a good amount of bass. But if you want a very a very good amount of bass and everything else, and you don't feel like every other sound is being muffled by another sound, muffled by another sound, and muffled by another sound, these are the ones to get. These definitely are the ones to get. If you're worried about things like, say, durability and sweat water resistance, these are IPX4. These are fully IPX7 waterproof. So that's something that's very nice. If you're worried about stem versus, this kind of design, these are more akin to, say, something like the Soundcore Life.2s, where they go in my ear and they're just instantly comfortable. I really don't have any sort of issues with that. Whereas, say, with these, there we go again. These basically just sit on top of your ear. And they're comfortable, but say when you're on a bus or something like that. Oh, that's great. Say if you're on a bus or something like that, you will feel these rumble in your ear with ANC, and you'll hear that way more than you'll hear these rumble in your ear. Or wiggle in your ear, rather. I've had these wiggle in my ear like maybe twice on like an hour commute. To me, compared to these, which probably would rumble every 10 to 20 minutes, that's nice. That is very nice. But that's all I really want to say with this. I didn't intend on making this a 20-minute video, but I ramble, right? So, this is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching Extra Sport. Hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday, or whatever time of day it is in the area. Have a good one.